Welcome back to the Rabb Yeaux Show podcast. And this, doing something a little different this time. So, as y'all know, I have the Rabb Yeaux Sports Show podcast where I mostly focus on NFL, football, news, and picks. But this season, as I was debating if I was even going to continue the podcast, I wanted to do something a little different. So this season, and we'll see, this season is going to be Rabb Yeaux Sports Podcast. But this one, these are going to be special editions, and I call it GOALS. It's an abbreviation for Game of Life. So when I say GOALS, that means Game of Life. And in this particular episode, I'll be focusing on surviving and dealing with narcissistic baby mamas, old friends or colleagues, or people you used to go to school with, and also surviving narcissism, surviving narcissists, and surviving child support. So these are things that are near and dear to my heart, because these are things that I have been affected by. And also parent abandonment. And I say parent abandonment. Most people might think of child abandonment. But as some of y'all know, this new breed of kid, this new breed of child, it's not always the parents who may, abandon a child. It may be a child who decides they don't want to be involved with a parent, or that they want to shun a parent or ignore a parent or disrespect a parent. And this is based on information and lies and deceit and brainwashing, mostly introduced and persuaded by the opposing parent or of that child or family members of that child. So yeah, this is something new I'm doing for the Rabb Yeaux Sports. We're going to dig in some deep topics. We're going to dig in some deep. And welcome back to the Rabb Yeaux Show. It's the Rabb Yeaux Sports Podcast. And as y'all know, I do cover NFL action, picks, news, current events going on in the league. But this is the off season. And also I wanted to bring y'all some more authentic, original content. And I'm going to touch on topics people don't always speak on. Something that's near and dear to my heart. Some of the things I've been through. So these are some of my own personal trials and tribulations I'm going to share with y'all today. And the topics is going to be dealing with narcissistic baby mama drama / surviving narcissism, surviving child support, and also dealing with narcissists in your life, and also dealing with dealing with parent abandonment. So it's a lot of things I'm going to delve or dive into in this episode of the Rabb Yeaux Sports Podcast. And these episodes where I delve into serious topics in the Black community and other communities as well. These are the Rabb Yeaux Podcast GOAL episodes. GOAL is an abbreviation for Game of Life. We're not talking about sports as far as the players on the field and the X's and O's. We're talking about the game of life as far as things that matter to you and me, things that are concrete, and things that you want to cultivate and nourish, such as relationships, rather between a spouse or a family member or friend, a child to a parent, or a parent to a child. So these are some things I'm going to touch and talk about in this episode, because these are some things that are near and dear to me off of some of the things I've been through and experienced in different relationships, and the way that certain things transpired and certain things were beyond my control. So just to start this off, I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. If you are miserable, or if you are bitter, or if you complaining about what this person did or that person did, I don't have nothing to do with that. Okay, I'm not here speaking on anyone else's baby mama drama or situation but my own. So I don't expect some women to agree with this, some of these things I speak on, because these may have been some of the same tactics that you used against your baby's father. Or this could have been some things that you thought about doing or that you witnessed your homegirl, your girlfriend, your cousin, your sister girl, them do. So you may not like some of the things I'm going to speak on this episode, and that's okay. You don't have to like it. You don't have to listen. You don't have to watch it. But for the people who want to hear some truth and want to hear some knowledge on some of the mistakes I made in relationships and some of the things I had to deal with the narcissistic child's mother, and some of the experiences and some of the loops and hoops that this person tried to make me jump through, I'm going to share this. I'm going to open it up because I feel like as an artist or as an entrepreneur, some people feel like you don't ever go through things, or you try to make your life look as easy or as successful or as thriving as you can to try to put on a facade or image or what people expect of you or what people want you to be. But in this, I'm just letting you all know these are things that I've experienced and went through firsthand. So I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be honest. And I'm going to tell you some of this was painful. And some of this was things I was holding in so long. I knew it was just time for me to just get this off my chest because it was just so much ignorance I had to endure and so much manipulation and so much brainwashing going on behind the scenes with people I love that sometimes even they was confused of who I am or who this person was perpetuating me to be with the chatter and the voice box and the mouthpiece. So starting it off, I will say I have two children. One of my children is 18, and her mother and I had some issues, to say the least, as far as co-parenting and maintaining a cordial relationship. So when we started off, I was older than her and I was still in college and I was still trying to find my way. When we had our child, I was 22 and I think she was 19 or soon to be that age. So I was older than her. I was in more of a leadership position, but I was still a lot younger and not as focused on so many things I was trying to do at one time, such as trying to start a business, trying to be an artist, trying to be a father, trying to be a good boyfriend, and also trying to be a college student as well. So we had went through some ups and downs, but I believe we actually lived together. That was my first time living with a woman. We lived together for maybe a year and then we went our separate ways. And I eventually got my own apartment and she moved back in with her mother. And we kind of co-parented that way. So soon after I was able to graduate, I wasn't really getting a lot of good job leads in the city I was in North Carolina. So I was kind of forced to move back home to South Carolina. And I hated to leave my child up there because of the separation and knowing that, we weren't going to be as close as we were before. So, of course, I moved back home, and then here comes the baby mama drama, of course. And she starts blowing me up and telling me what she needs, and she needs money, and she needs this, and she needs that, whatever, for my daughter. Okay. So I began to do odd jobs and get into substitute teaching and doing things of that nature so I'd be able to send some money back to help support our child. And it took some time, but I was able to get a nice steady job at a local auto plant. And I was able to be a lot more actually consistent with the money that I was sending her for our child. So during this time, she had met someone else and began to date other men and have other men around our daughter. And I was always opposed to her just bringing any man or random men around my daughter, because you don't always know people's intentions, and you don't want your children to be vulnerable to any kind of physical, mental, verbal, sexual, any kind of abuse or anything inappropriate, because you don't know people's history and their backstory. Just because they say they're trying to date your child's mother does not mean that's all they're interested in. But of course, she was giving me the attitude and this and that, and it's her business what she does and all this kind of stuff like that or whatever. Okay, cool. So she dated the guy for a while or whatever, and then they eventually went their separate ways. So me, thinking long term, I thought, I'm going to try to be with my child's mother so we can be a family. And we kind of tried to get closer back than we were, and try to strengthen our bond and our relationship. At this time, I was still in South Carolina, but I was hoping we'd be able to work things out and become a family, and either live in North Carolina, Charlotte, somewhere, something of that nature. So the time came, and I made my move to propose to her. And when I proposed, she accepted. But this is like where the red flags began to come in, because I always knew that she was a materialistic person. And looking back now, I can see a lot of the red flags I didn't see early on as a young man in my early 20s and mid 20s. And here are some of the red flags. When I proposed to her, I had a ring that I had brought her, that I gave her to propose or whatever, as her engagement ring. Well, her just recently getting the tax refund off of our child and having a few thousand to spare, she wasn't satisfied with the little ring I got her. She needed to go take it back to the ring store so she could upgrade. So this was one of the first red flags right here. So me trying to make things work, I went along with it. I swallowed my pride. I went along with it. Went back to the jewelry store, traded it in, got a bigger ring, whatever. Okay. That was one red flag right there. I mean, you could count at home, keep count, because it's a lot of things in here. I'm going to try to be as thorough as I can. I'm done. I didn't do any notes, and I didn't write down anything. This is more or less off the top of my head and how I remember. But this is my story, and this is my journey and my experience. So that was the first red flag. Another red flag was she was the type of woman who never could admit when she was wrong. And this is a big red flag to all the fellas out there. If you dating a woman, or you're talking to a girl, or interested in a girl, and she can never admit that she's wrong, or she did something wrong, or she, wasn't a woman of her word, or didn't do something that you respect or appreciate, and you voice that to her and she can't admit it, just get out of there. Run all ass. Find somebody else, find something else, because you can never make things work with anybody in any situation if somebody can't admit they're wrong, because nobody is right all the time. This, even on Jeopardy, nobody is right all the time. Nobody has all the answers. And when you make a mistake, it's important for you to admit it, try to do something to improve it, and move on. If you're a person of character and a person who can admit their faults and admit they're not perfect. But when I was with this young lady, for some reason, whenever I would bring up to her that she did something wrong or something inappropriate, she could never accept the fact of it being true. And she would never apologize, and she would always try to brush it off with some little BS or whatever. So that was another red flag. So another red flag was when I was getting back to trying to marry her at that time, and we had, recently got engaged. She had been going out to a gay bar, and she was, she was being courted or approached by some females or whatever. So somebody must have been, blessing her with gifts or buying things for her. And she was texting them and accidentally texted me one time. And I was in South Carolina at the time. She was in North Carolina. And the text was just like, well, you always getting me all these things trying to spoil me and all this. And I'm just like looking at the text like, what is she talking about? So then she texts me back real quick, like, oh, I meant to send that to somebody else. And I'm like, who you meant to send that to? Because if we're engaged, you should not be accepting gifts from people or strangers or strange women or strange men. So that was another red flag. And of course, she tried to downplay it, but that was a red flag simply for the fact, not because somebody was giving her something. For one, if you're accepting something and you're in a serious relationship, maybe you shouldn't be accepting gifts from people trying to gain your favor. And for two, if we're in a relationship, why do you feel the need to go to a gay bar? It's like that already showed me she loves attention too much. She had to have the spotlight on her. It had to always be about her. It's like if you about to go out to eat or if you at home and it's like she's just like, oh, I want to go out to eat. I want to go out to eat. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. It's just like, damn, you can't you can't get in the kitchen and whip something up. It's just like you always feel the need to have to go out to eat somewhere or something. And then when you get out to eat, it's like the food is never right. Like you always have to call over a manager. You have to always speak to somebody and complain about something and try to get some food for free or something. And this was not just the times I was with her, because my daughter later revealed to some family members that every time they would go out to eat, she never paid for food. And she always went to the manager and always complained about something. So looking back in retrospect, these are just a few of the red flags that I encountered with this young lady. But moving on, she had kicked me out of her mother's house a few times when I had moved back to North Carolina before we were to get our apartment and move in together before our wedding. So it was just like that feeling of wanting something and being in love with somebody that you thought loved you back, or thought had your best interests at heart, but in actuality, they were just trying to use you as a pawn or just use you to see how much they could get out of you before they go and get with this other person and see what they're going to give them, and then go to the other person and see what they're going to give them, and then go to the other person and see what they're going to give them. And it was just like, if a woman is into you, fellas, I'll tell y'all this off the jump. A woman is into you, you're not going to go through this kick you out the house bull. Because the first time she does that or has an idea to do that, and it actually happens and she actually kicks you out, pushes you out, just stay going. Let that be it. Let that be a wrap. With me, it happened 2 or 3 times. And the third time was when she had given me the ring back over a situation where she came in the room where we were staying at her mother's house with her, myself, and my daughter. And my daughter was playing on some laundry before she went to wash it. And she just was like irate and like yelling at her and screaming at her. I'm just like, yo, you need to calm down. It's not that serious. And then it's like she's ready to get in my face. And I stand up. We're standing next to each other, and she's like yelling at me, and she just bites me. And it's like my daughter is seeing this, and my daughter's just like, "What is going? Like, what's going on?" She's like, "Leave her alone." I'm like, "Leave her alone. She just bit me." But it's just like these are the crazy, silly situations that you can get into with somebody when they're a hothead, they're a narcissist, they do no wrong, and they want to manipulate every situation. Like she would always try to manipulate me into like getting her something or taking her out here or taking her out there or something. It's like everything was always about her. It was even a time when I went to my homeboy house because she was asleep over there playing Madden. She gonna call me while I'm at my homeboy house. It's like, oh, you left. Why'd you leave? You left. You left. I said, yo, you was sleeping. What you want me to do? Sit around and watch you sleep? And it's just like that mentality of you with me, you serve me, you are mine, and you bow down to me, and I'm this and I'm that, and it's just like I already knew it was going to be a long, hard journey for us if we were to get married because we just used to bump heads too much. Because I'll just tell you straight up, ladies, I'm not that dude. Like y'all know it may have been some men that you may have had in your life that you could just dominate or run over or roll over. He like a dog, fetch, play dead, do some more tricks for you. But I just was never that. I was never that guy. And if I felt that my girl, my lady did something inappropriate or something I didn't like, I would bring it to her attention and I would let her know. And vice versa. If my lady or my girl felt I did something wrong, I was out of pocket, I was inappropriate, let me know. Tell me. Because, like I said, I'm not perfect and I never claim to be. It's like sometimes in their relationships, I felt like she definitely was manipulating me and trying to dictate and control me. And the more that I would get her to try to listen to reason and logic or let her know that she couldn't control me, it's like the more harder she would try, or then she would try to like kick me out the house, or like it would just be something like something that would trigger her to just try to get rid of me because she knew she couldn't control me type thing. And she probably already knew she had like 3 or 4 other people in her phone that would do whatever she said and she could control them a lot easier. It just so happened I was the child's father and I was actually trying to make it work as a family, as a parent. So after the situation where we were kind of face to face and she bit me or whatever, and my daughter was there, she saw it. It was like, she went a few days without speaking to me, and I had went to visit my cousin who used to stay around the corner from her, but he had recently moved. So I'm at my cousin's, and I don't know if she like tried to drive by or sneak by to see if I was really there, but because he had recently moved, she may have went by our empty house and felt like I was out cheating or I was lying. Meanwhile, she's the one always cuffing the phone, always has her phone locked, always has the password because she knew there was probably so much in there that was damning evidence if I was ever to get inside of her phone. So once the situation happened of us going face to face and she bit me, and then like a few days later I went to my cousin's house just to try to relax and ease my mind. And I guess she may have felt I wasn't at his house because she may have drove by because it was right around the corner and so I wasn't there, even though he had recently moved. Then she decided that she wanted to break off the engagement. So she gave me the ring back and basically kicked me out of her mother's house. And it was like, I could have stayed there, but at the same time, it's like, okay, this is the reason I moved back to North Carolina, to try to work it out with her and be a family man with my daughter and her. And I was up there. I had 2 jobs, and I was working at a call center and at a outdoor store. And I was like, why would I stay here at your mom's house after you basically kicked me out? Like, why? What sense does that make? Like, why would I do that? So I went ahead and moved out into a hotel, a motel. So it's like it was a lot of pain and it was a lot of like, you know, rejection. It was like I had to feel it, I had to embrace it because it was something that I had wanted to work. It's something I wanted to be successful and last, but it just was not to be. And I knew even if we were together, we would have been arguing a lot just because I'm like a no nonsense straight shooter. It is what it is type of person, and she is more like a, you know, conniving, trying to manipulate you, trying to figure out how she can get what she wants out of you without being so direct about it type person. And that's like I don't like the sneaky shit. I don't like people who think they slick and think they can get over on you with the bull relationships or socially or personally or whatever, friends or whoever. That's just me. And when I get a whiff of it and I know what it is, I'm not, what I'm saying, I'm not playing games with people. So we went our separate ways, and like, I had like a bad spiral after that because it was just like dealing with so much disappointment, and then it's just like not really getting that kind of answers I would have liked. So I ended up moving to Atlanta for a little while. But even when I was in Atlanta, like I wasn't really like partying and dating like that because I was still hurt and I needed time to heal, and I didn't want to just go around and have like loose sex and mess around with all these random women just because if there wasn't a real emotional attachment, I just really wasn't into it. And plus, I still was hurt and disappointed by my child's mother, so I didn't know if I got serious with somebody, would they try to hurt or disappoint me based off of what I had just been through. So, not too long after that, I ended up moving back home. And this is just where the situation just became just like, it just was just, it was crazy. And it was crazy because it's like, I moved back home and she's, of course, dating some other guy or whatever, whatever. But it seemed that at every turn, when I went to North Carolina to visit my daughter, she always made it her point to try to throw her new guy or her new nigga in my face, like type shit. So I went up there for my daughter's graduation, kindergarten graduation. This is like first leaving Atlanta, moving back home, pissed off, shit not going my way, just like looking for a fresh start type shit. Get up there to North Carolina for the graduation, almost on the front row, and I'm looking like back over my shoulder. I'm like, hold up, what she brought a dude here, and she got a dude with her. And I never forget the kindergarten graduation. They had a comedian kind of like as the opener, like breaking the ice, or whatever. He's like, "Dang, bro, what's wrong with you? You look mean. You look mad as hell. This is graduation." I'm just like, you don't even know what I'm really going through right now. But I'll just try to like keep my composure or whatever. So that was already like another strike or another sign right there. Like, if we at our daughter's graduation, why do you feel the need, or why is it so important for you to present or bring or try to throw your new guy, your new man in my face? So that was, it is what it was, and that was her soon to be husband, because they actually lived together for maybe a year and a half or two, and I just brought their attention, like, what kind of example are you setting for our daughter living with this man and y'all not even married? And you have this bigoted religion where y'all are holier than thou, but you living with this man and y'all not even married. So I mean, I might have said that to her, and maybe like less than 6 months or to a year later they actually was married. So I guess she took heed to my words, or he did at least, or somebody did. But they got married or whatever, and went back up there for another birthday or something, birthday party at a skating rink, I remember. And we're there, and I'm just like off to the side with my father, and we just chopping it up. So here comes her and her boyfriend, like all in our face, and I'm just like, dang, when you stand off to the side from a crowd of people, and then somebody come and stand in front of you, you can tell it's on purpose, because it's like I kind of made it a point to kind of stand off to the side, but then she made it a point to come stand off to the side in front of me with her boyfriend just to hug and squeeze him in my face type shit. So it's like it's obvious like she really wanted a reaction or really wanted me to care, but it's like it did not matter to me because I wasn't looking at her like that anymore. It was just kind of like, okay, well, you got your new man. I'm single now, but it's just like, even if I wasn't single, I'm not gonna just bring somebody with me to North Carolina just to try to make her jealous type shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's just not the person I am. That's just not me. I'm not into that kind of show, like that kind of bullshit. So they ended up getting married or whatever, but it did not last. And then throughout this time, she had been going back and forth with me, over what my daughter doing when she comes home over on like holidays and over the summer. Like, you need to get her involved, so she's just not coming down there and doing everything. I'm just like, okay, we want me to plan out her day when she come down for the summer. It's like it's summertime. She now here was chilling with her father, her grandmother, her grandfather, her cousins, and everything. So it's like, let it be. But it's like she was always the kind of a kind of person who would always try to pick and nitpick at different things of what you're doing with the child type things like that. And she would always try to make it seem like you weren't doing everything you should do as a parent type thing. So as the situation progressed, like my daughter and I were very close, and I mean, people who were friends with me on Facebook could see like I used to put up mad pictures of her, like us spending time together over the summers, holidays, things of that nature, whatever. But it's like as time progressed, okay, I eventually did get into a relationship with somebody. Now this is like my daughter is at this time, she's probably like 14 or 13 or 14 or so, somewhere in there. But it's like, I never really brought a lot of females around my daughter. So for me to bring a woman around my daughter, it had to be somebody that I cared about and somebody that I trusted and had feelings, a lot of feelings for, because I was just not going to parade women around my daughter just to do it or just so she can tell her mother like, okay, he got a new girlfriend now or whatever. So when I first introduced my daughter to my girlfriend at the time, soon to be wife, everything was fine. It was cool. You know, they had talked about fashion. They had, did some dances together, talked about some music and things like that. And there didn't seem to be any kind of problem or, you know, any kind of snag or whatever. So we went to church for watch night, and that was the new year coming in. For people who don't know, that's when you go to church overnight for New Year's Eve, and you bring in the New Year in church. So we went to church, and afterwards we went to my parents' house to have dinner. You know, the customary Black New Year cuisine, collard greens, hoppin' john, things of that nature. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's okay. So we took a picture. It was myself, my daughter, and my wife. And I put this picture on Facebook. So initially, it wasn't like I got a lot of flack from my child's mother about it, but it was things lurking in the background. And I mean, the reason I know that is because some women, when you're not with them and when you move on and when you're happy without them, they can't stand that shit. Especially when you let it be known, like I'm over you, I'm done with you, I want nothing else to do with you. We had a child together, but that's where it is. They can't stand that. Because for her, and she may never admit it, I think she was hoping for a long time that I would always be that guy who some women might consider a scrub. Stay at home with my parents, never really have a solid relationship or girlfriend like that, or I'm supposed to just stay in one place for the rest of my life and not really progress or make any kind of moves or whatever. But at the same time, I'm sending monies to her, as I'm working these different jobs, and I'm sending money to Wachovia, and I'm sending money to Wells Fargo, and I got account numbers, and I got receipts, and I'm doing this, and this is going on. And I had a lot of receipts. Actually, I had like I had a nice stack of receipts, and I actually threw a lot of the receipts I had away after we had first got engaged, and that was in like 2000 and 2006, I believe. I actually threw a lot of receipts away when we first got engaged. But what I'm saying is, I'm contributing to your household and the household where my daughter is. So that's taking a chunk out of my income of what I'm making right now. But you would like for me to stay in one place and maybe be lonely or miserable without you, or maybe yearn and long for you. But as soon as I get into a new place and I have happiness and I found someone who loves me for me, who's not out to see how much I'm willing to spoil them or how much I'm willing to trick on them or buy for them or do for them, somebody who can be a giver for me and I can be a giver for them, instead of somebody who's just out to take. That's when some people get a little bitter. And I didn't see it at first. So a little time goes by, my birthday comes around, and it was a tradition for myself to always spend my birthdays with my daughter in North Carolina. So I would either go up there or I pick her up or she come down here for spring break or something. So go up there to North Carolina, spend time with my daughter for my birthday. I have my soon to be future wife, current wife with me. And this is where things start to get a little sticky. Because we met, hung out, we took them out to the Waffle House, took a nice picture, put that picture up on Facebook, right? So, I'm just looking at it as I'm enjoying my life, enjoying myself. And, this is my wife, well, my soon to be wife, and this is my daughter. Girlfriend, it was my girlfriend at the time, but this is my daughter and us, just hanging out. So, shortly after that, all of a sudden, when I go to try to post pictures on Facebook, I'm unable to post pictures, and it just like it's no real explanation. It's just like I'm in Facebook jail, or Facebook holding cell, or whatever it is, but I can't upload any new pictures personally myself. And when I do, it's like a caution sign or something like that. Like even Facebook never told me what it was. But now looking back, I know she probably flagged some of my pictures, especially the ones with me, my future wife, and my daughter. Why? Because she's a narcissist. She was bitter. She was never happy. She was never going to be happy for me, even though she was supposed to be happy herself. Because after her first go round at marriage, she remarried. And every time that she got married, she would let me know. And you know what I would tell her? I would say, congratulations. I never said, F that nigga. I don't want him around my child, or don't be with him. Come give me another chance. I would just tell her congratulations, and it is what it is. But it's like when it came to being Facebook friends and things like that. I mean, cause she wanted to be my Facebook friend one time. I'm like, why? And she, so we can share pictures. I said, if you want to share a picture with me, send it to me. Cause it's like if we are exes and we have a child together, we don't necessarily need to be Facebook friends unless that's something both of us want to do. She wanted to do it just simply so she could spy on my page and my every move and how much I post and my frequency. And I was already Facebook friends with her brothers, so it would be easy for her to go look at one of their pages and pull me up off the friend list anyway. Until I had to delete both of them guys, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is she always gave that energy or that attitude of she got to keep tabs on me. And that's how you could tell a narcissist or people who just can't get over you or can't leave you alone, because they got to keep tabs on you, man. Come on, every time you post, they right there to see what you post, and they're going to respond to that post. If you button your shirt up to the top in your picture, they're going to button their shirt up to the top, and the next picture they take, and it's going to be right after you post yours. Because some people is just like that. Like, they can't stand to see you do shit. Like, you can't have a good time. You can't have fun. You can't be an artist. You can't put out music. You can't be happy. You can't do anything because they feel left out, or they feel like they're being left behind. And I think a lot of people suffer from this kind of mentality. And I think Facebook and Instagram and that brought it out more, because I think too many people get caught up in comparing their life to what they see people post and the lifestyle people live or portray online. But it's like you got to understand, everybody that posts that kind of stuff is not really living that life, or they're not really happy, or they may not really own everything they claim to own, or they may really have it and really be happy, or they may really have it and be miserable. But it's not, for me, it's not a competition, because we all have different goals and ambitions. Some people ambition or goal is to work a good job or to work a decent job and ride it out. till they retire or whatever. Me personally, I will focus more of my energy on building my own brand and my own company to the point where it's sustainable and something that can last for generations to come off of products and IPO and releases and catalog and things of that nature. So if you're not in that space, or you don't have those kind of interests or goals or ambitions, we can't really compare apples and oranges, because it's a difference between going to work every day and going to hustle every day, or going to hustle every week, or how often you see fit to feed your hustle or your family. So it's like we're not all we're not all going to be able to try to compare our lives our lives to each other, because we all have different goals, we all have different talents, we all have different dreams, we all have different ambitions. So people get caught up in that of the Facebook and the Instagram and things like that, and that's one of the reasons I've been fell back off Facebook, because some of the things I was just posting trying to promote myself, and some of the reactions I was getting from people that were supposedly friends or former classmates of college or high school or colleagues or whatever, some of the reactions I was getting, or some of the little side eye comments and bullshit responses, and you post something and they post something like 2 minutes later, it's just like, I'm not all that dumb shit, man. I'm not with all that dumb shit. It's like, I'm doing this for me and my family. I'm trying to live my life. You do your thing, you live your life. But dang, if I can't come online and post something without people getting in their feelings or getting their little panties in a bunch, it just make me feel like, you know what? I don't even need to be on this platform, because you show me exactly who you are too much. And I don't even want to see this side of you, and I don't want to see this dumb shit coming from you, because that's a lot of narcissistic behavior that goes online, that goes on these social media sites, because some people think they slick, or some people like to watch your page so hard to see your every move, your every post, just so they can try to combat it or come back with some old bullshit to try to poke the bear, make fun of you, pick, or the old one up game. Because it's a lot of one up niggas out there. It's like, yo, man, I just got this new job. I'm making 30,000. I just got a new job. I make 35. Like, yeah, man, well, shit, man, that's nothing, man. Now I left that job, I made 30. Now I got a new job, I make 45. Or I make 47. It's just like, damn, bro, you got it, man. It's all you, bro. It's you, bro. You got it. Because it's like, I'm not competing with people like that. Because, you know what I'm saying? There's no reason to. You do what you do, I do what I do. You do what makes you happy, I do what makes me happy. You feed your family, I feed my family. You pay your bills, I pay my bills. You live your life, I live my life. But damn, when the Facebook and the Instagram came out, and it's people that you knew, that you was just, oh man, that's my homie. He's a cool nigga. Is this, he's that. And then you start posting things, and then you see how people react to the things you post. You just like, yo, it's too much. It's like you get a sixth sense, and you just like reading people's minds because of the way they're reacting to your success or your post or your coming up event or your new song or your new picture or your new profile or the Bible verse you put up. It's like, I actually had a dude from college call me. We chopping up on the phone. He's like, yeah, man, because I know you a good nigga. I know you going to heaven because I see you posting them Bible verses. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, bro, you can go to heaven too if you want to go, but that's up to you. But I'm living my life for me. You do whatever you want to do. God gave everybody free will. Why are you so concerned if I post a Bible verse? Like, how do that affect your life? Like, what am I doing that you have such a problem with? It's like, that's just a narcissistic attitude that a lot of people, it comes out of them on social media, because they get so consumed with what this person doing, or what that person doing, or what this person, and it's just like, you shouldn't even be so concerned with what other people are doing. And that's why I've been fell back off these social media sites, because it's just like, I don't want to watch what everybody else is doing. I want to focus on what I'm trying to get done. You get wrapped up in watching everybody else live their life. What life are you living? So I just said all that to say, be wary and beware of narcissists that you may have went to school with, or think you cool with, or you still go to, you still work with, or hung out with, or whatever like that. Because everybody's not gonna be happy for you, and everybody is not gonna just see a post that you post and appreciate it or respect it. Some people gonna try to come with little slick shit, try to respond with little counter posts and all this other dumb shit. Like a lot of people really need to get their priorities in order. It's like we're not all playing the game of competition. Like this is chess. This not checkers. Like niggas got that checkers mentality. Like, oh, I gotta get him back. Oh, he think he doing this. I gotta do this. It's just like, yo, do what you do. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to get off track any further. Let me get back to this part of the story I was at. Okay, so this young lady who I had the child with, she remarries. Okay, and this time my future wife, who's my wife now, we're getting more serious. So we're spending more time together, and I post a few pictures of myself, my daughter, and my wife on Facebook. So then I was unable to upload. Even to this day, I cannot post a picture on Facebook right now. Honestly, I don't care because I can always just, if my wife posts a picture of me, I can just use that. I can just take it from her page and make it a profile picture or whatever. So I mean, I don't really be on Facebook anyway because once I really found out what it was about and how people was like so into it as far as the page watching, the spying, the fake Facebook profiles that narcissistic baby mamas might try to use against you, that they friend you when you already friends with this person and it's like a ghost account where they just want to spy on your page because your page is private. It's just like I just really wasn't really into Facebook like that anymore because it wasn't like it lost its value to me because it was just like I was just seeing the dark side of it and the evil and the negativity and the dumb shit people was doing on it. Like you couldn't post a you couldn't make a post in peace because people see you happy and they get angry. People see you smiling and they ball their face up and like, what he smiling about? Why he so happy? You post a Bible scripture and people think you trying to be the Pope or something. It's just like, yo, I'm good. I'm good on a lot of y'all. Trust me, I'm good on a lot of y'all. So that's why I've been fell back off the Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But I was unable to upload any pictures of myself for a long time. And it's okay. It is what it is. Because I know somebody had to, you know, make some kind of fuss or flag up a post I made, probably one with my daughter, my wife, and myself. And I already know who did it, the same person I've been telling y'all about. So that happened, and I let it go. I didn't ask Facebook what happened. I didn't make a big thing out of it. I let it go. But this is where some of the effery came in. By effery, I mean fuckery. Part of my French, if you that kind of person. So when my wife and I first got engaged, my child's mother asked my mother, in my daughter's name, is Rob marrying his wife because she's pregnant? Tyler, my daughter wants to know. So they didn't ask for themselves. They tried to throw my daughter in it to make it like my daughter is curious if my future wife is pregnant and that's why I'm marrying her. Now, what kind of question is that for a child to ask, a 14, 15-year-old child to ask? Like, really? So that was one thing. That was another red flag. So as the we get closer to the wedding, I invite my daughter to attend and she declines. Okay. That's another red flag. Because if it was your mother's wedding, you'd be right there with the pom poms. But now, because there's some brainwashing going on, you don't want to attend. And I later spoke to my daughter's grandmother, and you know what she told me about the wedding? She said, "Yeah, we heard about your wedding, and you know, we would have all liked to attend and come down." I'm like, "Well, I wouldn't have liked for we all to come down and attend. Like, yo, y'all don't need to be nowhere near my wedding, okay?" especially not your. I'm saying, especially not your bad shit daughter. Let me quit. I'm just playing. But yo, no, this is the thing. I was not gonna have that kind of thing going on because my child's mother had already suggested, like, no, I want to meet your future wife. Let's go on a double date. I'm like, double date? We don't need to go on no double date. I don't want my, I don't want my wife nowhere around a bitter baby mama or a narcissistic baby mama. No, I'm good. So what began to happen was, as the trajectory of my relationship and my bond with my wife began to increase, the re- relationship and the trajectory of my bond and my relationship with my daughter began to be on a decline. And I know there was a few reasons for that. For one, this for one, she was always used to being my girl as far as I didn't have a lot of females that I brought around her or a female I was in a serious relationship with. So when she met my future wife, they got off to a great start. But maybe as she spent time with her mother away from me, her mother probably put that microchip, planted that idea in her head, like, well, once your daddy get married, he ain't gonna have time for you and all that. So my daughter began to kind of be a little distant. And as things progressed, it just got worse and worse. So there came a point where I went to visit my daughter on Christmas Eve in North Carolina. And this for me, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. And this was some real bullshit. As I get to North Carolina and get closer, I'm hitting her up, texting her like, yeah, I'm gonna come. Cause she had asked me before if I was coming. I didn't want to tell her yes and I won't be able to make it. So I held off my choice and my decision on coming up there or not until I was positive I would be able to make it. So as I get closer to the city and start looking at hotels and everything, because I know that she was used to when I came up there, me hanging out sometime with my cousin and maybe her not having my undivided attention. So this time I didn't bring my future wife with me. I traveled by myself and I planned to get a hotel room, brought the keyboard, was going to take her Christmas shopping and kind of had things, nicely lined up for us. So before I get to that, just want to rewind real quick. Before this Christmas Eve situation, my daughter's birthday is in early December. I went up to North Carolina, left work early, drove 4 hours, got some things for her birthday, met with her stepfather, her mother, and her friend at a restaurant for her birthday. Broke bread with them. I was cordial. I was chill. Didn't give nobody a side eye. Didn't give nobody no lip. I didn't talk shit. I was a gentleman. Cordial. Sat with them respectfully. As they about to leave and the check comes, they pay their check. They give the payment. Her husband or whoever, whatever, get the payment. Waiter brings the check back. Told him the card was declined. Now at that point, I didn't crack a smile. I didn't clown him. I didn't give him let on that I even knew that I heard the waitress say that. So I just let it go. But I knew in my mind, all right, she's already got this guy overextending himself. Because how can you go out to eat for my child's birthday, your wife's daughter's birthday, your stepdaughter's birthday, and you give the wrong card or a card that didn't have the balance to accommodate your check to the waitress? That just wasn't right. It's something that was off. Something was off, but look, that's their business. I ain't got nothing to do with it. As we step outside, I'll never forget. Took a very nice picture with my daughter. This is like one of the last pictures I have with my daughter. We standing outside, and I had on like white pants, silver track jacket with a white scully, and she had on like some blue and like a bubble jacket, and the background on the buildings behind us actually complemented the colors that both of us had on. And this was like one of the last pictures we took together. This was her birthday, and that was maybe 2.5 weeks before Christmas, or yeah, just about 2.5 weeks before Christmas. So, like I said, when I returned up there, it was not that much time had passed, and this was Christmas Eve, y'all. I get up there trying to reach out to her, like, yeah, Daddy's in town, want to hang out with you. I got us a hotel room. We're gonna hang out, take you Christmas shopping, this and that and that. So all of a sudden, I'm getting the silent treatment. I'm like, damn, what's going on? I just came up here, I broke bread, got the hotel room, got the, oh, I don't want to see you. It's like, yo, where's all this coming from? Oh, you always wait till the last minute to tell somebody you coming to town. I don't want to see you. I don't got time for this and that. I'm just like, yo, who is this? Because one thing about a narcissistic baby moms, she don't mind taking a child phone and pretending that she's the child and giving you all kind of nasty S, and by S I mean shit, in your text message. So it still remains to be seen, because this is like a mystery that we hadn't even we haven't solved this mystery yet, and this is like 2000 and it's 2022 now. This is like 2016, 2015, somewhere around that range. 2017, somewhere in there. It's like this is like a mystery. Like, who was I texting that day? Because when I tried to call and get someone on the phone, they would not answer. So if I'm texting my daughter back and forth and I call her and she doesn't want to see me, she can't answer the phone and tell me that. So that was another red flag. And that was something that really changed the dynamic of our relationship. Because for my child's mother to have me drive from South Carolina to North Carolina, where I live and where I went to visit in North Carolina, it's like 4 hours. So you would have me drive 4 hours to North Carolina to see my daughter, knowing that's the primary reason I came. And then you would try to basically not even try, you would deny my parental rights as a father. Now keep in mind what I'm saying. You would deny my parental rights as a father once I got in your city. But it was a reason, because she's a control freak, and she likes power, and she likes to hold that shit over your head. So by her not allowing me to see my daughter, or perpetrating that lie or rumor or belief that she did not want to see me, it was obviously to try to break me down. And it's like I had to deal with that. And it's like that's a hard time to deal with something like that on Christmas Eve, when you extended yourself to try to make someone happy and give someone a nice Christmas and do things for your child. So that was a hurtful Christmas. And like some of that pain like lingered for a long time. Like I had to call plenty of my friends, plenty of my homeboys, and some of them actually had already been through similar situations like that. And that was the sad part. And we're going to get to that last. Because very rarely, especially in the black community, you might hear about it here and there, but I'm saying as far as people bringing it to a spotlight or bringing it to a forefront, you don't hear about a lot of parent abandonment, but it goes on. But you don't always know if it's the root of a bitter baby mom, or a narcissistic baby mom, or it's just like the child heard so much negative BS about you through the years that they reached this decision that you're what your child's mother says you are, type thing. And I really believe that that's what began to affect my relationship with my daughter, because we were so close before, and there was no reason for her to, you know, there was no reason for her to snub me when I came to visit her for that Christmas, when I was just up there a few weeks before for her birthday. And we all had fun. We all got along. I gave her her birthday gifts. I gave her some money. I gave her mom some money. So when I returned 2.5 weeks later, what's the difference? It's like my child's mother didn't know if I had my wife with me or my future wife with me or not. Maybe that has something to do with it. Like, oh, if he got that lady, if he got his girlfriend with him, you're not going. Or or why he wait till the last minute. I don't want you to go with him. I'm telling him no. Give me the phone. So it's like I don't know what happened, and I never got a straight answer because it's like this is like where the dynamic and the relationship began to change for the worse. Because from then on, it's just like conversations became less and less, and quality time became less and less. And I could kind of see the tug of war going on between her mother. Like, she did not want me to be happy. She did not want me to find someone that made me happier than she ever could. Somebody that was realer than she ever could be. Someone that was honest, loving, warm, trustworthy. Somebody with a big heart. Somebody who's not full of lies and deceit and treachery and manipulation and what they can get out of you and what you owe them because they're so entitled, because they're from South America and they think they're the hottest thing since sliced bread. But it's like, as a young boy, young adult, young man, it was times when I was blinded by this face, maybe a little bit of that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. A little bit of that. You may have been blinded by that because you are at a less mature level. Your brain's not fully developed. Your hormones is raging. You horny. You want it. Everybody's talking about it. So it's like you might look at physical features first and just get wrapped up in the physical, wrapped up in the wrapping, what's on the outside. Brothers start getting older and start really learning women and learning life. You want a woman with a kind heart. You want a woman who's about you. You want a woman who's into you. You don't want a woman who's into things and what you're going to do for her and what things you're going to get her. And that was another red flag. Any woman that you have to buy something for before y'all even go out on a date or do something for, before you even get to know her name and number, keep on going. Because that's just a sneak preview of things to come. The tricking game. I'm telling you, this you ain't gotta take my word for it. Go out there and see. But this is what I'm saying. Like, you get older, you want a woman who's mentally stable. Not one of these bipolar women, and I'm not knocking people who are bipolar have mental issues. What I'm saying is you don't always want to be battling someone else's demons on a daily basis. You want to have some kind of consistency emotionally with the women that you involved with. Or I'll say I do, or I have this opinion. Y'all can do whatever y'all want. Get whatever you into, date the kind of woman you like. I'm just speaking from my personal experience of things I've been through, of different women and different experiences. I would prefer a woman who's into me and a woman who has a loving, caring heart and spirit over a woman who's may think she's the prettiest thing on the earth. Used to having men stick their head up her ass, kiss her ass every damn day. And now her ego is so big, you can't tell her shit. And she just looks at men as opportunities. She's an opportunist. She's an opportunist. She's looking at what she can get from men because of her looks or her beauty or the physical attraction. But it's nothing else there. There's no depth. There's no, you know, conversation, outside interest, things in common, things we like to do together. There's no depth there. It's like you're basically attracted to her off of her looks. And that's not something that's going to be sustainable for a long term because this person is probably either going to use you up until they find somebody who can do more, or you're just gonna be part of a collection of people who are just sponsoring, and that's just the truth of that's just the truth of the matter. I mean, it can go other ways, but knowing what I know now, I will put less stock into the most beautiful woman I can't get along with, or the prettiest girl that has an attitude problem or stink attitude or not mentally stable, than someone who cares about me, someone I find attractive, and someone who finds me attractive, and somebody who I can build something with long term. And that's what I found eventually. But I had to go through trial and error, and this was a long trial because this is somebody I had a child with, and somebody I had to continue to interact with for events, birthdays, graduations, school programs, etc. So it wasn't just like I could just get rid of them or avoid them because we had something in common that would bring us together every so often. So, like I said, after that Christmas, I was definitely hurt and disrespected. And it was like, okay, I'm sending you money every time I get paid, basically. And I come up there, and for whatever reason, you deprived me of seeing my child. So I was pissed off, and I voiced my, I voiced my opinion and my frustrations to certain family members and things like that. And it's just like, oh, she just doing that because whatever, whatever. Like, yeah, I don't care about all that. I'm just saying this happened. So now I'm not trying to go to North Carolina like that because it's like I'm not gonna drive those 4 hours again and niggas act like they don't want to see me type shit. Like that was really some real bullshit. And I asked her about it like a few, months later. What I'm just like, yo, why didn't why didn't she come to me? Why didn't she want to go? Oh, she didn't want to see you. I'm like, okay, but you her mother, you could. Oh, I wasn't gonna get involved in that. And I was just like, okay, well, it just would have been helpful if you would have, if she didn't want to see me, like somebody could have explained something. Like we just texting back and forth. Oh, if you should have came by her, you should have came by my house. Should have came by my house. Like, yo, I don't have to come to your house to kidnap my daughter. It's like she knew I was in town. I told y'all I was here. I had a hotel room. So it's just like either you could have helped by meeting her, bringing her to the hotel room for me, or whatever. But it's like for me to come by your house, that's like you want me to get into it with your husband, or you want me to get into it with you. You want to bring out the worst in me so you can call a man on me at your house, and then it's like making it to a thing of I'm trying to fight your husband because I want you back or some dumb shit like that. Like no, I wasn't coming by your house because there was no reason for me to. Once we texting and all that and calling and I can't get an answer and I'm texting my daughter and she acting like she don't want to see me, or you texting me that you don't want to see me, or pretending to be her, it's like it is what it is at that point. So that was just like the tip of the iceberg, because after that then there was a situation like over the summer where I was going to the beach, taking my wife to the beach, and I was going to do some school shopping for my daughter if she would have came along, but she didn't want to come along. She had got a mosquito bite, and it swelled up a little bit, but it was just like, okay, we in South Carolina, we see mosquito bites all the time. But with this mosquito bite, she was trying to make it like, and I know her mother was behind it, she's trying to make it like she had to keep her leg elevated or she might get a blood clot. Now, I mean, we in South Carolina, so we seen a lot of mosquito bites. So the whole blood clot thing was just, it was just foolishness. Really, it was really a lot of foolishness. And this is all going on while I'm trying to, build a new relationship with my future wife. Will also sustain a relationship with my daughter, which has already been fractured because somebody behind the scenes is trying to throw shade or trying to minimize our contact or our relationship based off my new relationship with my future wife. So it was just like a real trying time. And it's just like why is this happening type thing. So after my wife and I get married, and like I said, even before we got married, my narcissistic child's mother had already asked my mother if the only reason we was getting married is because my wife was pregnant. And no, my wife was not pregnant at that time. It was not a trap thing. It was not like she's trying to force me to marry her or anything. It's something that I wanted to do. And it's something that she wanted to do. Because she could see things in me and I could see things in her. And I knew that this is the kind of woman I want to be with. And this is not somebody that is going to try to, you know, talk cash money shit because things don't go their way, or somebody who going to try to embarrass me in front of family or friends or make me out to be the bad guy to my child. And that's what began to happen. It's like I went through a lot with my daughter because there was a lot of jealousy and resentment toward me once I moved on and I was happy without my child's mother. And it's like I never flaunted my relationship in her face. Maybe she felt I did when I made those posts with with my daughter in those pictures. But to me, I was just happy and I was enjoying my life, enjoying myself and sharing like, yeah, you can have a child for another woman and still be happy with another woman that you're with. And y'all can all get along. But see, the thing is, a lot of people don't believe that. And some people didn't like that. She was one of those people who didn't like that. I know some people might have been skeptical because they like, okay, well, that's not her daughter. No, that's not her daughter. But we still a family because this is my daughter and this is my wife. So these are my ladies. These are my queens, and I love them. And I can show them because I don't have nothing to hide. Like I'm not sneaking in DMs, and I'm not trying to see how many women I can get and all this other stuff like that. I can be straight up because I don't have nothing to hide. Like it's nothing. It's no DM or screenshot or Facebook Messenger, which I don't even have. It's nothing that somebody could show my wife like, yeah, he was trying to get with me last week and he ain't up but a dog and all this other dumb. It's like, nah, I'm good. So as things began to deteriorate even more with my daughter, and I just recently been married. So at this point, my child's mother decides I'm not giving enough now. So my daughter's 16 years old, and this child's mother decides I need to be on child support. As my daughter is 16 years old. And just to put this in perspective, I know some of y'all may say, okay, well, a woman can put a man on child support whenever she wants. And that's cool. That is what it is. But when a child is 16 years old and the mother is just putting the child on child support, I think that should be a red flag to anybody because you cannot tell me for 16 years I was a good father, I was giving, I was providing, but once I got married, now all of a sudden I don't do shit no more. It's like I'm not going for that. I don't believe that, and I know that's not true, and I know that's not the case. So when the case came around, and I did have to go to child support case behind this ignorance. When the case came around, I had a I had a binder full of receipts, and I can show y'all the binder full of receipts because it's like it's no deadbeats with receipts. You understand? That's not possible. It's no deadbeats with photo albums of Facebook of them and their child hanging out together. Because even sometimes if you can't provide financially, you can provide emotionally, you can provide spiritually, you can provide physically, being there with that child. And I'm not going to say I always had a job because I didn't. I'm not going to say I always sent her money because I didn't. But guess what? I kept records of plenty times I did, and I accidentally threw away some records of times I did send her money because I thought we was getting married, and I thought I didn't need the receipts anymore. But it's like dealing with a woman like her, I just knew for some reason I might need these receipts one day. So I kept them. And you know what? I can show them. Because, that was like somebody trying to tarnish my name or blemish my reputation. But it's like, I got no problem opening up the books if people want to see receipts from Wells Fargo, receipts from Wachovia, different amounts. This one, and I can tell you the amounts. This one 100, this one 80, this one 145, 50, 75, 100, 50, 60, 105, 105, 75, 55, 155, 55, 75, 120, 70, and the list goes on and on. But it's just like, you could never pretend. I never did for my daughter when I have a book here full of receipts from different years, different banks, different bank accounts that I was sending and funneling money to you from myself. So even in times when I didn't have a job or wasn't working, because I have a community in a village of people who also love my child, some of them could help provide some things when I couldn't. Because unlike some of y'all, I didn't always have it. And I know that's what a lot of people like to pretend. A lot of people like to, project. But I didn't always have it. I was a young father. I had to learn, like, okay, I got to be able to send her some bread. I'm never going to hear the end of it. And that was something that really probably, I mean, not that I was going to have multiple baby mamas, but that definitely was just like, I don't want no more baby mamas. So y'all niggas with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 baby mamas and 18, 13, 25, 16, 34 children, y'all can have it. Because I knew I didn't want any more children unless I was married to a woman and we were going to do this together, not against each other, not turning my child against me or talking so much shit about me that when my child sees me or comes in contact with me, they have to question, like, who is my dad now? Because they've heard so much negativity and ignorance from the narcissist. So, like I said, I got put on child support behind this situation. And some of the things that went on at the court was just ridiculous because as the case gets called, and we get to hear everybody's cases as we sit in the courtroom of how much people make and how many kids they got, how old the kid is, and what's going to be the ruling and all this. Gets to my case, I'm up there, suited and booted, and, brought my binder of receipts to show the judge, okay, I've been sending her 100 here, 50 there, 150 here, 145 there, 80 here. So this is what she's been getting and accepting. Okay? I know y'all have your little bullshit, formula y'all have to use, which basically they add up your monthly income for a man, and they want to say a third of that should go toward the child. So that's what it came down to. At that time, I was working as a manager at Burger King, and I think the monthly came out to around 4 and some change or whatever. So that's what I was ordered to pay. But my whole thing was in the courtroom was, okay, well, this is what she's already been accepting. This is what I've already been providing. So for y'all to make it into something else, it's just like, I don't even need to be here. Like, this is a whole bunch of bullshit. To make matters worse, the caseworkers who were overseeing her case, when it came to my case and I'm up there against my child's mother, and the judge looks at the paperwork and says how old the child is, the caseworkers start laughing. And people in the courtroom, I just like could just feel the energy and the mood and the it was just like people was probably like, hold on. She got him in here and the child is 16. Like, what is wrong with her? Because that's not a reflection on me at that point. For you to say that I didn't do anything for my child's life once she turned 16, but the first 16 years I was good, that's bullshit. Because the only real thing that changed when my daughter was 16 compared to the other years was I was in a serious relationship and I had been recently married. That was the only thing that changed. And that proved this was some narcissist bullshit. Because for me to move on with my life and be happy, now I gotta be on child support now. Because I'm too happy. So you gotta find a way to try to steal my joy or ruin my marriage or break up my marriage. Because you wanna affect the money and the income coming into my wife and I's household. And this is like your best way to do it. So you can try to ruin my marriage, turn my wife against me, turn my family against me, and put that stain on my name. Like y'all know what it is when you're a black man in America. They gotta put something on you. It has to be some negative attribute that they attribute to you. It's hard for a black man to be clean as the board of health in America because they will always try to find something they can use against you that will be your downfall or your weakness or what you didn't do or where you fell short at. And for me it was this scenario because when you put on child support, you will just put into a system. And these people don't care nothing about you seeing your child or, you know, how the bond of your child is. All they care about is you sending that bread or they're gonna take it out of your check. There's no two ways about it. When I got put on child support, it wasn't no, okay, well, you'll be able to visit her on these days, or you'll get her on weekends and holidays. It wasn't none of that shit. It was this is what you have to pay, and you need to come sign this paperwork. And if you want to get visitation or see your child, that's a whole nother court case. That's a whole nother battle. That's family court. This is child support court. That's the reality of the situation. This is in North Carolina. But I would imagine a lot of states operate this way because this is like a racket. This is like extortion. It's like you don't need someone to take money out of your check for you to provide for your child. Or if you're struggling so much with our child, instead of putting me on child support, maybe you should go get some food stamps. Or just let the child come live with my family and me in South Carolina. Cause we have a village here of aunt, grandma, grandpa, uncle, cousin, dad, stepmom. You get the picture? But some women would never let their child go. Y'all know that. Because why? It's the meal ticket. You give up that child, you give up so much control and power and manipulation and bullshit. And then you can't call my mom and say, oh, he didn't send me money. I need something. And then you can't go run to the white man and say, oh, he didn't be on child support. He ain't daddy. He ain't no good daddy. Because if the child came to live in South Carolina with me and my family, I know one, she would have had something to eat. She would have had clothes. She'd have been good. But you would rather cling on and clench and grab and squeeze tight than let the child leave your custody. Because then you won't get shit. And that's your whole scheme. That's your whole plan. Like, come on. This is like simple shit. This is not complicated. The examples I gave you, hopefully, if you did go through it with somebody or you're going through it with somebody, you can recognize some of these signs and warning signs and symptoms that you're dealing with a narcissist. You're dealing with somebody who always got to have shit their way. You're dealing with somebody who loves attention. You're dealing with somebody who, if you don't do what they like, oh, they're gonna try to ruin your reputation. Not only with your child, with your family, and anybody else that they know or come in contact with. It's like I know it's people that live in North Carolina that might know this person, this girl, and like if they see me, they probably look at me like, "Oh, what's he doing around here?" Because I know they probably done heard so many tall tales of bullshit of somebody trying to ruin my name and my reputation. I know this, and it's like I had to do this for one. This shit needs to be heard. It needs to be said, and the truth is the truth. I'm not defending no man who does not provide for their child. I'm not defending no woman who turns their child against the father. I'm not doing that. Because y'all know these games. Y'all know these games very well. And some of y'all probably feel a little guilty. Some of y'all probably feel a little ashamed because you done did this to somebody, or you know somebody who did it, who you call a homegirl, or who you call a brother. But men, and I say men, because if we having children, we're not boys no more. We gotta grow up. If you have a child, do what you can to provide for your child. Be there for your child. Love your child. Nurture your child. Guide them. Women, if you have a man and you know he's not doing anything at all, nothing at all, zero, zip, zip, then you may want to go the child support route. But you don't wait till the child is 16 to decide, oh, this nigga ain't shit. He's a deadbeat. He should be giving me money. He should be on child support. It's like it should be a statute of limitations for things of that nature, because you cannot tell me through the first 16 years there was not ample time for you to put me on child support if you saw fit. But you decide for whatever reason to wait until I get married and then put me on child support then. Because I moved on, because I'm happy, because I don't want you, or all the above. Now, at the same time, you talking shit about me to my daughter and making me out to be the bad guy. This is classic narcissist bullshit. It's like you at work or you at school or wherever you at with a group of people, even a family function, and somebody just come over to you and just start telling you all this negative shit about somebody. You just like, okay, and I don't care. It's like somebody's already trying to put the brainwash job on you or change your perception of how you see somebody. And you got to be smart enough to pick up on stuff like that. Like, what is their angle? Why do they want me not to like this person? What did this person do to them? Because this kind of shit happens every day. It's like a smear campaign. Like, you got to try to tarnish my reputation with my daughter, because now you see I'm happy and I moved on without you, and I'm good and I'm better than I ever been without you. Because you were a hindrance, because you were an anchor, because you was weighing me down, because you did not want my happiness. You wanted your happiness. And my prime objective or goal in life being with you was going to be to serve you and make you happy and do your bidding. And these are the kind of people you got to look out for, because they out there and they waiting to take advantage of people who have a good heart or a kind spirit or a solid mind, or somebody who's attracted to a narcissist, and they can see that and they know you want them. They know you might do whatever it takes to get with them, just to spend time with them, just to, just to take them to dinner, just to whatever, buy them a purse, buy them some heels or some dumb shit. It's like you gotta know who you're dealing with. Because everybody's not gonna have your best interests at heart. But if it's somebody that you want to be in a relationship with, you definitely want to make sure they have your best interests at heart and you have their best interests at heart. And y'all can work together to go in the right trajectory to make all of your dreams come true, step by step, day by day. But this situation was just something that I had to go through and I had to experience, and this shit hurt. And I can tell you all this because it's like people need to be more real as far as with the content and the stuff that they put out. It's like, let's not act like this kind of stuff don't go on. You can't just paint every man with the same brush of, oh, he's a deadbeat dad, or oh, he didn't do nothing for his kids, or he don't care about his kids. It's like you don't know the whole story. And a lot of time the story gets lost in translation depending on who the storyteller is. So with my situation, I already knew what it was. This girl had been bitter, jealous, angry, upset. Never wrong, because she's a narcissist. So how do you reason with somebody who's never wrong? How do you hold somebody who's never wrong accountable? You can't, because they're never wrong. Because everything is always your fault. So with everything always being my fault, I became like the villain in the scenario of my child, my child's mother, and myself. And it's just like something that has been ongoing, and I'm still fighting now to try to be able to reach my daughter. But one thing I did was I gave her space and I let go and I let God and I pray for her. And I pray that one day we can get back on the right accord. But I know it's been a lot of fake news. It's been a lot of confusion. It's been a lot of brainwashing. And it's been a lot of damage because she doesn't know who I am anymore based off of her mother's opinion of me and things that she's heard and things that she's been told. And that's just classic narcissist bullshit. So you're going to basically try to turn this person against that person because that person is not doing your bidding or bowing down to you. But it's like when the dust all clears and the smoke, when the smoke clears and the dust settles, you still have to think about this child. And how is this child going to turn out when they find out the truth of the matter? Because it was times when my child's mother would come to it's a time when she came to South Carolina with her husband and his kids and my daughter. And supposedly was just passing through to see my mother and give her a hug and posted up for about 6-7 hours at my mother's house. Now, if you moved on and you happy with your husband and everything y'all got going on, why are you coming to your ex's parents' house posting up for 6, 7, 8 hours like you waiting on me to come through the door? Why is you looking in the backyard to decide to see what kind of cars my parents have at their house and looking around the house like you trying to appraise the house like you looking around like you trying to find something like you want to see the wedding, you want to see my wedding pictures. Like that has nothing to do with you. Live your life. You made your bed, lying. But it's like I had to put this video out because these are things that I had to deal with, and I know if I had to deal with it, other people had dealt with this too. So my thing would be just recognize when you in a relationship with somebody and you're not having that love and admiration reciprocated, and they're not into you as you feel like they should be, or when they're just trying to use you and manipulate you, when they're never wrong about shit, when they miss or Mr. Perfect, and when you bring something to their attention that they did wrong, they try to downplay it or change the subject, run. Get out, get away from them. Because these are the kind of people that you're never going to be able to have anything substantial with. Because it's always going to be about them. They're never going to admit they're wrong. And all they're here to do is take, and then take some more. If they can't take it from you, they're going to find somebody else to take it from. And they're going to go from person to person to person to person, using them to see what they can get out of people. Even though, regardless of what they get, how much they get, they're never going to be satisfied. They're never going to be happy. Because they empty in here. So it don't matter if you got this and you got that, and they bought you this, they bought you that. Don't matter. All that material shit don't matter. If you empty in here, especially in here, and especially in here, if you empty in there, none of that shit don't matter. Because you still not going to be happy. Because you still don't have what you really need. Self-love, confidence. You know what I'm saying? Things that people can't buy. You might try to buy something that make you look confident or make you feel confident. But if you don't have it, you just don't have it. And if you don't love yourself, you just don't love yourself. If you can't sit with yourself, if you always gotta have somebody like a little dog to pet, a little nigga to play rover, a little one of them little, I call them rollover niggas. Y'all ladies, y'all know what a rollover nigga is. A nigga who do whatever you damn say in the hopes of getting attention or love or whatever. Like, man, look, I was never that. And the tricking and the favors and all this, men, you don't have to buy a woman's love. If you're just trying to get some whatever, that's up to you. If that's what you like, that's what you into, do what you do. But if you're looking for a relationship or something real, it don't come from what you doing for her or what you bought for her and all this kind of stuff. It has to be a mutual attraction or mutual interest. You have to get to know her and see how she is and who she is. Because she could be a narcissist and you could be wasting your time. And she could be wasting your time, your money, your heart, and all that. So I'm going to wrap this up. But I just want to say, like, I hope this was helpful to a lot of people. Hope y'all can take something from this. This is the game of life. This is not just football as far as NFL and who's on this team and how many millions this person making and who's playing this week. This is things that every American could possibly go through in different relationships. You could have a narcissistic best friend. You could have a narcissistic parent. You could have a narcissistic brother or sister. And it's just like how you gonna get through these obstacles in these situations when people have these personalities that they just they're never wrong and they gotta get whatever they want out of you or it's gonna be problems. And they're gonna go tell everybody how bad you are. You're a villain and you know, all this foolishness. So it's just like I just wanted to share this my own personal journey and my own personal experiences of dealing with this. And yes, I am off child support. So I can talk even more freely about it now because I wouldn't put this type of video out if I was still on child support. Because that would kind of defeat the purpose, right? You know, for me to put this out complaining about child support and still owe them. No, I'm in the clear. That is a closed case. But I will say this: there's a lot more people who are good at getting you on child support than taking you off. Because some people who work in these child support offices act like they never knew how to close a child support case. Isn't that something? They act like they didn't know what procedures to follow. They act like they didn't know how to correspond with the other state or the other party or the other court to make sure that things was closed. Like this is just so foreign for someone to have paid off child support for some of these workers in these offices. And I didn't know this until I'm calling them like, yo, my case is closed. Y'all can stop trying to garnish my checks and take off this and take out that. Oh, you need to talk to so and so. They not here. I was like, well, when will they be back? Leave them a message. Oh well, you gotta call this person and get them to send a fax to this. Okay, what's the number? So you know, we're gonna alleviate that kind of stuff. But hope you know, hopefully in the near future or coming years, I will be able to mend that relationship that was disrupted and tarnished, and I will be able to be more involved in my daughter's life and let her know that I love her, I always did, and regardless of the lies or the nonsense or the BS that you may have been fed, my feelings for you never changed or anything could have, you know, destroyed that bond that we had. It's just you have a lot of outside noise and interference sometimes, and sometimes people can confuse people and manipulate them, and that's not all her fault. I just I just want her to know that, you know what I'm saying? Because it was a very messy and ugly situation. And I feel like it was also family members of mine who fell victim to some of this girl's lies and manipulative tactics. And it's like I just had to call some people out on it and they didn't like it, but the truth is the truth. And we can't allow someone to manipulate my child and then you begin to go along with the manipulator as if as if what they said about me was true. It's like we can't do that because that's like you co-signing to the narcissist, and it's definitely what we don't want to do. So in closing, hope you all got this. If you need to rewind it and listen back, play it back again. And I just want to touch on the narcissistic behavior of baby mamas, baby daddies, whoever, and people that you so-called Facebook and Instagram friends with, whoever, and the whole child support situation. And the system that tries to, imprison and keep so many black men in bondage, financial or, or physical penitentiary, jail, county, whatever. It's just like let's not let's not base let's not base a system on, you know, allowing or empowering bitter women to extort men that they don't even let see their child. I'm gonna say that again. Let's not let's not endorse and support a system that empowers bitter women or hurt women or scorn women or lonely women or depressed women or narcissistic women to be rewarded by extorting their child's father based off anytime they want to without really looking into what are some of the causes of this. Why would you wait 16 years to put a man on child support? Why would you wait until a man just got married to put him on child support? Why would you have another child simply because your baby's father has another child? Come on now. That's just I mean, I just think those are some questions people need to ask because you can't have it both ways. And they're doing these things now with the abortion laws in all these states, all the red states, of course, where they're saying it's illegal to get abortion and everything like that. They're already trying to push legislation that would make it like they have to put a man on child support from conception. So you already see where the thinking is behind this. They already want to get more men, especially black men or whoever else, in their bullshit system of debt, of paying monthly to women or the system or the county or the state or city or whoever as these funds get, you know, siphoned here and there. They were already looking at legislation like that for the future. Like, okay, well, now that abortion is illegal, we need to start lining up child support from conception. So basically, if you have a girl pregnant and they had this law and had this into passed into law, or whatever, it's like, okay, well, you need to go ahead and take your paperwork down to the county so they can go ahead and line you up for child support since you and this girl not married type shit. So y'all better pay attention to what's going on out here because some people don't know what family really means. And some people don't understand what love really is. It's like a family should be a group of people with the same goals and aspirations for their family to all flourish and be successful and happy, however they find their own happiness. And a con. Love is not love. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be crystal clear with this. Okay, love is not a transaction. I'm gonna say that again because I know some of y'all don't hear very well. Love is not a transaction. Okay, when love becomes a transaction, somebody's a hoe and somebody's a trick. That's when love is a transaction. Other than that, love is the way that you treat somebody and you care about them, the way that you nourish them, the way that you teach them, lead them, guide them, raise them, train them. You know, the things that you impart into them, into their traits and their characteristics, into their heart, into their, talents, into their skills, into their mindset, into their, spirit. Like you show them love, you treat them with love, you treat them with respect, and you want to continue to have that kind of bond with your children and with your family that you hold in high regard. But as you allow narcissists and naysayers to come into your family life or invade your circle, and then the lies start, and the finger pointing starts, and then it's this person who's so innocent and never wrong trying to make another person not to be a villain or a devil or a demon. That's what happens because it comes from a narcissist. It comes from a narcissistic place. It's like, why would somebody feel the need to call your mother and harass your mother about money after they already put you on child support? It's like you already, you already cut that lifeline. Like, you can't call my mom and complain to her in the hopes she'll call me and say something like, "Oh, she said you wasn't sending her no money." It's like, okay, well, now I'm on child support, so I mean, call the county, call the city, but don't call my mother. They'll try to brainwash my people into feeling like I'm not doing anything for my child when you know what I was doing before I married you, before I got married, and you know what I was doing afterwards, and you know that I was sending you money. It might have been not been what you wanted, but you know I was sending you money. But you also know our daughter is 16 years old, and you know that I just got married, so that might be a little more incentive for you to put me on child support right now, especially knowing I'm married, and you want to definitely try to ruin that, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put this in y'all ear, give y'all something different, something original, something unique, talking about narcissists, baby moms, baby dads, or whoever, family members, aunts, uncles, fathers, sisters, brothers, mothers, cousins, whoever, the narcissist in your life, the one you don't want to admit, the one that you pretend like you don't know, the one that you always wonder what's wrong with them, why they always so negative, why they always trying to bring people down, why they always talking bad about somebody behind their back. They're trying to brainwash you, man. They want you to feel the same way they feel about somebody just because. Or they want to make somebody else feel like they're a villain because they're so innocent and they never did anything wrong. But that's it for this episode of the Rabb Yeaux G.O.L.s Game of Life podcast. I hope you all enjoyed this. Like I said, something I opened up. I was vulnerable. I gave y'all some game. I gave y'all some real life S I've been through. And maybe this will help you along your journey. Maybe you can pass it on to somebody. Maybe you might want to do some more research on narcissists or child support laws, or maybe you can take something from this and it might make you a better person, or you may be able to learn from some of the mistakes that I made, and you may be able to, know, take a different route. But appreciate y'all for checking me out. Don't forget to, share the podcast. And if you really enjoyed it, cash out me something. Send some bread. $ Rob 7 Bodison ROB, the number 7 BODISON on my Cash App. And be looking for episodes of Rabb Yeaux Sports Show. Also more episodes of Rabb Yeaux G.O.L.s podcast, Game of Life. And working on a little comedy stuff here and there. So not gonna let the cat out the bag yet, but be looking for some Carojuana comedy type of content. But I appreciate y'all for checking me out. Y'all be safe, be blessed. I'll see you on the next.